All right. So I hope you can able
Sir,
to see. Yes, yes, Kaushal.
nothing is so.
Network issue, Anuj.
Oh, sir, fully white.
Fully white. Yes, yes. I kept it
Why
white.
white
Okay,
तो है
that
भी.
is purposefully only. Don't worry. Okay. Very good. So you can see white screen. Very good. Let me take Marcus. Okay. I guess I will get some marker here. I got it. Shahrukh, where are you? Are you joined?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very good, very good. All right, only 22 students are there. Very disappointing. I don't know what happened to others. I think they're Einsteins, Newtons. It seems they're very brilliant and they don't require any classes, it seems. That is also good, Oli. Okay, so coming to the point, students. So the next topic will be antigens. So far we discussed basics about immunology, like we know the mechanism of immunity, then we know the cellular immunity, different types of cells in immunity, then we know the immunization, the concept of immunization, where we discussed about this thing. We have active immunization, passive immunization, artificial, then we have natural, we discussed about vaccines, colostrum, we discussed about the clinical and subclinical infections, then we discussed about various types of cells involved in immunity, such as T cells and B cells. T cells we discussed like T regulatory cells, cytotoxic T cells, suppressor T cells, memory T cells, helper T cells, B cells, plasma cells. Then we also discussed about a specialized cells called third type of lymphocytic cells, non-lymphocyte cells. Can anyone say what are those non-lymphocytic cells which are really good at killing viruses and cancer cells? What type of cells are called as uh, non-lymphocytic T cells that are good at killing viruses and cancer cells? Can anyone say that cell name? Natural killer cells, okay. So natural killer cells are the cells that are specialized at killing viruses and cancer cells, okay. So please keep in mind natural killer cells. All right. Are you listening, students? Why silence?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, listening, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, very good. So coming to the point, students. So today we will discuss about antigens and let us finish this antigens today itself. I'm very confident that I will finish this class. Even the class became late also, please stay in online until 4:30. Let us finish this antigens today itself, okay? So coming to the point. So listen to me very carefully. So this is blood vessel. This is blood vessel and inside blood vessel we know we have immune cells and immune cells. Let us keep very straightforward. So let me be very straightforward. I have B cells. So these are B cells. Plasma cells, plasma B cells. What plasma B cells will do? Tell me the function of plasma B cells. What is their purpose? What is the purpose of plasma B cells? अरे यार.
So phagocytosis.
Phagocytosis. Okay, very good. So B cells will do phagocytosis and also B cells will do another important function. Huh?
Produce antibodies.
Produce antibodies. Very good, Ashish. B cells will produce antibodies. Plasma B cells will produce antibodies, right? Antibody production and phagocytosis are the functions of B cells. So ultimately, the B cells will produce antibodies. When they produce antibodies, these antibodies will kill the pathogens, right? So when at what condition B cells will produce antibody? At what condition B cells will produce antibodies? B cells or immune system will produce antibodies only when there is an antigen, only when there is a pathogen. Only when there is a pathogen, only in the presence of this pathogen, B cells will start producing antibodies. There is a series of steps. I know that macrophage will come, T helper T cell will come, everything will happen. So at last, B cells will start producing antibodies, right? So my definition is the substance, whatever substance it is, okay? The substance that will activate B cells to produce antibodies. The substance that activates B cell to generate antibodies. Those substances are called as, these substances are called as antibody generators. These substances are called as antibody, see here. Keep in mind, listen this word properly. Antibody generator. G-E-N-E, generator. G-E-N-E-R-A-T-O-R. Antibody generator. That means antibody generated is a substance. So this is a small, there is a substance called antibody generator. This antibody generator will induce B cells to produce antibodies. So B cells will start producing antibodies only in the presence of this generator, right? So that is why this substance is called as simply antibody generator, or it is also called as antigen. This substance is called as antigen. Instead of writing antibody generator, simply we will say antigen. So antigen is a substance that will induce immune system to produce antibodies. The substance that will activate B cells to produce antibodies are called as antigens, whereas these are called as antibodies. These are called as antibodies, ABs. Okay, these are called as antibodies. So antibodies are produced by our body, whereas antigens are substances that will activate our immune system to produce antibodies. Is this definition clear for everyone, students? Do you understood what is antigen means? Any confusion?
No, sir.
Clear, right?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good, very good. The substance that will activate our immune system to produce antibodies is called as antigen. To be precise, why they are calling this as antigen? Because it will produce antibodies, antibody generator. The complete name of antigen is antibody generator actually. So now listen to me very carefully. Okay, I'm going to discuss about these antigens. Let us focus on these antigens. Now these antigens are of two types, students. Okay, so I will show you here. See here. So actually these antigens are okay, let me show you the structure of antigen here. Okay, so this is a cell. This is a bacteria. Okay, this is a bacterial cell. In this bacteria, we have a protein. So let me draw a protein with another color here. So yeah, I draw like this. So we have a substance like this. Okay, this part of protein is inside the bacteria and this part of protein is outside the bacteria. Okay, now this protein molecule on the surface of bacteria will act as an antigen. So this is an antigen. Let us assume this protein as an antigen. By the way, keep in mind, all antigens and antibodies are protein in nature. All antigens and antibodies are proteins, by the way. Okay, it can be either antigen or it can be antibody. Both are proteins by chemical nature. Okay, now see here. Here we have an antigen and this antigen has a problem. No, not problem. It is of like this. Some part of antigen is exposed on the surface of bacteria and another part of antigen is inside the bacteria. So which part of this antigen will be triggered by our immune system? Only this part, right? Only this part of antigen can be recognized by the immune system, right? Now, and also only this part of antigen where an antibody can bind. So let me erase here. I will show you here. See. Now here, an antibody can only attach at here. antibody can attach at here on this surface like this. Antibody can attach on this surface like this. So antibody is attached like this. Okay. Now listen very carefully. Now the part of antigen where it will bind with an antibody, the part of antigen where it will bind with antibody, this part is called as epitope. This part of antigen is called as epitope. Epitope. Okay. The part of antigen that binds with antibody is called as epitope. The part of antigen that binds with an antibody is called as epitope. Now, let us see the antibody. In this antibody, which part of antibody attached to the antigen? This part, right? This part attached to the antigen, and this part is freely floating in the upper surface. So now let me focus on this part, the part of the antibody that is attaching with antigen. This part of antibody is called as paratope. This part of antibody is called as paratope. Paratope. T-O-P-E. Paratope. Okay. Paratope belongs to the antibody. Paratope belongs to antibody, whereas epitope belongs to the antigen. Epitope belongs to the antigen. Is this clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right? The part of antigen that binds with antibody is called as epitope. The part of antibody that binds with antigen is called as paratope. Right? Then let me discuss a few more important things here. Now, sometimes antigen will be in incomplete form. Antigen will be in incomplete form. That means it will have only bottom part, but antigen won't have top part. It has only bottom part, but this antigen does not have top part. Okay. These kind of antigens are called as incomplete antigens. These antigens are called as incomplete antigens. This antigen does not have upper surface like this. So these kind of antigens are called as incomplete antigens. Incomplete antigens. INCYMPLETE. Okay. So these type of antigens are called as incomplete antigens. So now I discussed the three types of antigens actually. Okay, two types of antigens. I said the part of antigen that bind with antibody is called epitope, and the part of antigen that lacks a part of antigen is called as incomplete antigen. Okay. Then now I want to tell one more important thing. Kindly pay attention. Things will be slightly confusing, so pay attention. Now I said that antigen is always foreign substance. That is our basic definition, right? Antigen is something which is outside substance. Only outside substance can be an antigen, right? Will you agree with me? Outside substance means such as bacteria, virus, parasites, fungi. They can be antigens, right? Is that definition correct or not? And antigens are foreign always. Is it true?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No,
Usually
sir.
we will feel like that. We will feel antigens are always foreign. But keep in mind, what is the definition of antigen? The definition of antigen is any substance that will activate our immune system to produce antibodies can be said as an antigen. It can be anything. Any substance that will activate our immune system to produce antibodies are called as antigens. If that is the case, these antigens, we have two types of antigens. On the basis of this definition, we have two antigens. Listen to me carefully. We have, let me show you here. So we have our own cell. So this is our cell. For example, B cell. On the surface of B cell, let me tell you one cell here. We have helper T cell. We have helper T cell. Can anyone say helper T cell surface marker? What is the surface marker that is present on helper T cell?
CD4.
Very good. Who
CD4.
is this?
Rocky.
Rocky. Very good, Rocky. I didn't expect it. Very good, Rocky. So helper T cell is also called CD4 cell. So helper T cell is also called CD4 cell. Why it is called CD4? Because CD4 is a surface protein marker that is present on the surface of helper T cell, right? Now, this CD4 is also an antigen actually. This CD4 is also an antigen, but it is self-antigen. That means even helper T cell can able to activate B cells, right? Helper T cell will activate B cells to produce antibodies. That means helper cell also have the capability of activating B cells to produce antibodies. That means helper T cell also have certain antigens on the surface of the helper T cell. Those antigens are called as autoantigens. The antigens that are present on our cell surface, our body surface. The antigens that are present on our body surface, those antigens are called as autoantigens. Those antigens are called as autoantigens. Autoantigens. The antigens that are present on our own cells are called as autoantigens, and the antigens that are present on pathogens or other substances, they are called as foreign antigens. F-O-R-E-I-G-N, foreign antigens, okay? Foreign antigens means outside antigens, and autoantigens means our own inside antigens. Our own antigens are called as our own antigens are called autoantigens, and outside antigens are called as foreign antigens. Or foreign antigens are also called as exoantigens. Foreign antigens are also called as exoantigens. Exoantigens. So we have exoantigens, autoantigens. Other than exo and auto, we have our own endoantigens also. Sometimes some of our own autoantigens will break down. Our autoantigens will be break down, and they will become a foreign material. They will become a foreign substance. Okay. Such kind of antigens are called as endoantigens. Such kind of antigens are called as endoantigens. ENDO, endoantigens. Endoantigens means these are our own antigens, but they become criminals. Our own antigens, autoantigens become criminals. So such kind of antigens are called as endoantigens. So typically antigens are of three types: foreign antigens or exoantigens, autoantigens, and endoantigens. So these are the three types of antigens we have. Then I discussed about parts of antigen. So basically an antigen will have a surface where it will bind with antibody. That surface is called epitope, and it will the antigen that does not have complete structure, such kind of antigens are called as incomplete antigens. Okay, incomplete antigens, or they are also called as partial antigens. Incomplete antigens are also called as partial antigens. Okay, partial antigens. I will discuss about these partial antigens in future classes. Partial antigens plays a very important role in autoimmune disorders that I will discuss in future lectures. So just remember, there are something called incomplete or partial antigens. Then the part of antigen that will bind with antibody is called epitope. Then we have autoantigens, exoantigens, and endoantigens. Okay. Then the part of antibody that binds with antigen is called as paratope, and the basic definition of antigen is a substance that will trigger immune system to produce antibodies. The substance that triggers immune system to produce antibodies are called as antigens. It can be exoantigen, it can be endoantigen, it can be autoantigen. Is this clear for everyone? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then
Yes,
I
sir.
will introduce two more terms. Kindly pay attention. Now I will show you two antigens here. Just tell me. I will draw three antigen structures and just tell me what are those. Okay. So here see, one antigen is in triangle shape. another antigen is in square shape, another antigen is in circular shape, and another antigen is in pentagon in shape. Pentagon in shape. Okay, so here I have a mixture of different antigens. I have a mixture of different antigens. So a mixture of different antigens together called as heterogeneous antigens. A mixture of different antigens are called as heterogeneous antigens. Heterogeneous antigens. Hetero. H-E-T-E-R-O. H-E-T-E-R-O. Heterogeneous antigens or heterophilic antigens. It can be said as a heterogeneous antigens, or it can be also said as heterogeneous antigens, heterophile antigens. Okay, a mixture of different types of antigens called as heteroantigens, heterophile antigens. Now, if you see here, you may observe both circle and pentagon looking same, almost similar. Will you agree or not? Is these two antigens looking similar or not? Is these two antigens looking
Yes,
somewhat
sir.
similar or not? Tell me, students.
Yes, sir.
If this is the case, if two antigens looking very similar, then there is a problem for our immune system, students. The problem for our immune system is it will confuse to produce antibodies. It will produce two types of antibodies, but these antibodies will cross-react. Antigen prepared for pentagon will react with the circle, and antibodies produced for circle will cross-react with pentagon. So cross-reaction of antibodies can happen because of a similarity between antigenic structure. Because of similarity between the shapes of the antigens, antibodies will cross-react. Circle antibody may cross-react with the pentagon, and pentagon antibodies will cross-react with circle antigen. Okay, so these types of antigens, antigens with a similar shape and properties are called as alloantigens. Antigens with a similar shape and properties are called as alloantigens. Alloantigens. Antigens with a similar shape are called as alloantigens. Is this clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
On the slide it may looking like too much information, but everything's easy only. I will do a quick revision. Listen, students. So far I discussed about antigens. First I said the part of antigen that binds with antibody is called epitope. Then I said incomplete antigen. Then I said antigens depending upon the origin from where they are coming. These antigens are of three types. We have exogenous antigens or foreign antigens. Then we have endogenous antigens or inside body rival antigens. Then we have autoantigens, antigens that are present in our body. Then I discussed about the population of antigens. So a mixture of different types of antigens are called as heterophile antigens, whereas if two antigens looking very similar means those types of antigens are called as alloantigens. So this is the thing that I discussed so far. I hope until now everything is clear, right? Shall I move on to the next slide? Can I move? Shall I
Yes,
move?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So next I will discuss
Yes,
about
sir.
some important thing. Pay utmost attention. I forgot to tell. So before going to next slide, let me tell you one important thing. Here. Let me take another color like green. Here I said incomplete antigen, right? For this incomplete antigen to make it activate, to make this complete, to make the antigen complete, we can add some substances. We can add some substances to make it complete antigen. So I added a green color substance to make this antigen complete. So this substance is called as adjuvant. This substance is called adjuvant. Spelling is ADJU, adjuvant. ADJUVANT. VANT. This antigen is called this substance is called adjuvant. So we will add adjuvants to incomplete antigen to make it complete so that it will trigger an immunological response. The additional substances we are adding to make an incomplete antigen complete. Such substances are called as adjuvants. Adjuvants are substances that will make complete antigen which triggers immunological reaction. Adjuvants are non-immunologic substances. Upon adding to an incomplete antigen, it will trigger an immune reaction. Such substances are called as adjuvants. Is this clear? Is adjuvants clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Sir,
Yes, yes.
antibody
Any
can
doubts?
attach. Sir, after this antibody can attach or not?
Yes, after this antibody can attach. It will attach. It will get activated. Antibody can attach. After complete, antibody can happily, it will bind. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
So yeah, we will use adjuvants in vaccines actually. So vaccines I will discuss later. That is a very big story. So first know the basics. So very good. You are asking questions means you are studying it. Very good, students. So let me proceed to the next slide. So let me take new slide now. Keep. Let me take it. Let me take 2 more slides, so it will be better. Listen now. Now, my next topic will be chemical nature of antigens, students. So now I will discuss about the chemical nature of antigens. So here I'm discussing chemical nature of antigens. I was missing offline classes. Happily, I can use Blackboard. See here. So now I will discuss about chemical nature, antigen chemical nature. Okay, chemical nature of antigens. Chemical nature of antigens. Now, antigens usually they will be protein in nature. Okay, so antigens will come in these combinations. So they will come in 4 combinations depending upon chemical nature. Antigens will come in 4 combinations. So listen. Arey yaar, there are some pigeons and they're shouting. I'm getting irritation. Many problems. Some ghost effect. They are giving some devil effect in the background. Okay, so coming to the chemical nature of antigens. So we have for usually antigens are in protein in nature. So they will be in protein in nature. Okay, antigens are protein in nature. Okay, then okay, so antigens can be protein in nature, and also antigens have another word also, students. The protein antigens are also called as immunogens. Both are same. Immunogen or antigen is same, but immunogen means you will get confused. Antigens are also called as immunogens sometimes. Immunogens. Okay, so basically they will be proteins. Or the protein antigens are also called as immunogens. Okay, then antigens are also in polysaccharide in nature. Sometimes they will be in polysaccharide nature. Polysaccharide in nature. Polysac. Okay, so they are polysaccharide in nature. They are nucleic acid in nature. They will be nucleic acid in nature, and also they will be lipid in nature. I don't know whether you understood the concept or not. By this definition, you should understand this thing, students. So let me draw a diagram, then you will get some nice idea about antigens. So let me draw a diagram of cell. So I'm gonna will draw a cell like this. In the cell, we have nucleus, then we have cell membrane, then we have cell membrane, then we have some proteins also, ribosomal proteins also there in the cell. Now tell me one thing, students, what is present in the nucleus of a cell? Tell me. What is present in the nucleus of a cell?
Nucleolus.
Nucleolus, and it will have DNA. That means it will have nucleic acids, right? Nucleic acids. So
Yes,
then only nucleus can be activated. So we have nuclear antigen. So one type will be nucleic acid antigen. So one type of antigen will be nucleic acid. That means the DNA of a cell will activate as an antigen. So we have nucleic acid antigen. Then in the protein, this is ribosomes. Ribosomes are made up of proteins. So proteins can be antigens, proteinous antigens. Then in the cell membrane, you will see two biomolecules. In the cell membrane, you will see polysaccharides and lipids. So lipids can be an antigen. Lipid can be an antigen, and even in the cytoplasm, in the cell cytoplasm, you will see polysaccharides. So in the cytoplasm, you will see polysaccharides. So polysaccharides can also be a antigen. So that means all parts of cells can be antigens. We can have nuclear antigens, nucleic acid antigens. We can have polysaccharide antigens. We can have lipid antigens, or we can also have proteinous antigens. So depending upon chemical nature, we have four types: protein antigens, polysaccharide antigens, nuclear antigens, and lipoprotein antigens or lipid antigens. Now I will discuss one important thing regarding nucleic acid antigens. In the future class, we will discuss this in detail. So just remember, there is something called LE cell, students. LE cell means LE cell. LE stands for lupus erythematosus reaction. Lupus erythematosus reaction, or it is a disease. It is an autoimmune disease where white blood cells will eat other white blood cells. One white blood cell will eat another white blood cell. So both our white blood cell become our own enemies. They will kill themselves. So that is this disease. So that disease is called lupus erythematosus. How many of you know Justin Bieber lover? Justin Bieber's ex-girlfriend. Do you have any idea? Justin Bieber's
Selena Gomez also suffering
Selena
from
Gomez, right? Okay, so Selena Gomez has an autoimmune disorder, students. She has a skin condition. She has skin rashes. Okay, it is an autoimmune disease where she will have skin rashes, and that skin disease is called lupus erythematosus condition. She have red rashes on her skin. Okay, so that is lupus erythematosus. Because of that disease only, our Justin broke up with that innocent lady. So even autoimmune disorders will break up, will make you to break up with your girlfriends. So autoimmune disorders also one of the culprits for relationships, it seems. So why I'm saying those things? Because that is an anti-nuclear antibody production. So in lupus erythematosus, what happens is nuclear antigens will get exposed. When nuclear antigens exposed, our immune system will start producing anti-nuclear antibodies will be produced, and that will cause skin rashes, and that will break up. That will lead to your breakup. So yeah, so that is about nuclear antigen. So depending upon the chemical nature, we have four types: proteinous, polysaccharide, nuclear antigens, and lipoprotein antigens. Nuclear antigens are very important, especially when we are studying lupus erythematosus, which is an autoimmune disorder that we will study in Unit 4 actually. So in the Unit 4 or Unit 5, I will discuss about LE in detail. We have a dedicated subject in LE. I will discuss in detail about the role of anti-nuclear antigens and anti-nuclear antibodies, the types of reaction that happened in lupus erythematosus, the mechanism, the signs and symptoms, and that laboratory test that we will do to identify this lupus erythematosus condition. So that we will discuss in the future classes. So this is all about the chemical nature of antigens. So now I'm moving forward to the another slide. Shall I?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So next. So now I will discuss about antigens based on their origin. Antigens based upon their origin. Antigens based on their origin. What is the meaning of origin? Can anyone say? What is the meaning of origin? Origin. Made a mistake here. Can anyone say? Origin meaning GIN.
From there, a specific thing is generated.
Originated.
The starting
Very
point,
good.
sir. The
From
starting
where it
point.
is the birthplace, okay, from where
Develop.
it is generated or from where it is given birth, so that place is called as origin, right? So depending upon origin, these antigens are of three types, students. So they can be three types. They can be originated from three areas, okay? They can be originated from three areas. Actually, this we already discussed. You will tell the answer if I give you a clue. So one is exogenous antigens. That means they originated from outside the body. That means pathogens. So such antigens are called as exogenous antigens. Exogenous. Then what are the other two? Can anyone guess?
Endogenous.
Endogenous and
Endogenous
Very
and
good.
autogenous.
Endogenous antigens. That means inside our body.
Autogenous.
And one more. Autoantigens. Autogenous, nai. Autoantigens. Okay. Very good, Deepak. So and we have autoantigens. Autoantigens. So based upon their origin, we have three types of antigens. Based upon origin, the antigens are classically divided into three types: exogenous antigens, endogenous antigens, and autogenous antigens. Now, I just want to know one small thing, students. Which antigen will have more reaction in our body? What antigen will cause more reactions in our body? Is it exo, endo, or auto?
Indo.
Endo. Why,
Endo.
Anuj? Why you thought like that?
sir, exo.
Yes, usually exogenous antigens will show more reactions in our body because this is completely different antigen and it will highly react with our body. But both endo and auto, already our body compromised with these antigens because it was exposed for a long time and our immune system will compromise with these kind of antigens. That means it will show less reactions compared to exogenous antigens, right? So that's it, students. This is about antigens depending upon their origin. So depending upon their origin, we have three types of antigens: exogenous antigens, endogenous antigens, and autogenous antigens. So we are doing very good progress here. Then let me move further. Now, depending upon antigens, depending upon immune response. So the next slide is antigens depending upon immune response. Depending upon immune response. Okay. Depending upon immune response, these antigens are classically divided into two types. Depending upon immune response, these antigens are broadly divided into two types, students. This one also, you know, if I say, you will tell the answer. You know what are the two types? Depending upon immune response, we have complete antigen,
Incomplete.
incomplete antigen. Absolutely. So we have complete antigen, C1 PLET. Okay, we have complete antigen, then we have incomplete antigen. So can anyone say the other name for incomplete antigen? Incomplete antigen is also called as
Partial.
antigen.
partial antigen. Very good. Incomplete antigen is also called as partial antigen. Okay. So incomplete antigen is also called as partial antigen. Very good. Partial antigen. So depending upon immune response, these antigens are broadly divided into two types, complete antigens and incomplete antigens. Now tell me, students, how to make partial antigen to complete antigen? What substance I need to add?
Adjuvant, sir.
Carrier protein.
Adjuvant.
Very good.
Adjuvant.
We need to add adjuvant.
Yes, sir.
That green color adjuvant need to be added to make it complete antigen. Now, I'm really regretting, I forgot to tell one more important word for incomplete antigen. So there is a specific term for incomplete antigen other than partial antigen. It is also called as hapten.
Hapten.
Okay, incomplete antigen is also called as hapten, and hapten need adjuvant to make it complete. Incomplete antigen is also called as hapten. Incomplete antigen is also called as hapten. Okay, HAPTEN. So depending upon immune response, our antigens are of two types: complete antigens and incomplete antigens. Incomplete antigens are also called as haptens or partial antigens. They require adjuvants to make it complete. Okay, so this is all about antigens depending upon immune response. Then by the way, one more important thing,
Sir.
incomplete antigen size will be less than some molecular size is there. Let me check it. Less than 10,000 kilodaltons. If less than 10,000 kilodaltons, okay, 10k kilodaltons, 10,000 kilodaltons, DTL. Such antigens are called as incomplete antigens. That means if the antigen is smaller than 10,000 kilodaltons, then it is said as incomplete antigen. That means this is so small that it cannot activate immune system. It is so small that it cannot activate immune system. So that is called as incomplete antigen. And the size is lesser than 10,000 kilodaltons. Okay, so this is all about the thing. Now I will discuss a small topic, then we can wind up. Okay, so a quick revision. So far we discussed about antigens. So first I discussed about the structure of antigen. So antigen is basically a protein. It will have outside structure and inside structure. Outside structure or the part of antigen that will bind with antibody is called as epitope. And we have incomplete antigens. Incomplete antigens are also called as haptens or partial antigens. Then depending upon their origin, antigens are three types: endogenous, exogenous, and auto antigens. Then I discussed about their population. So a group of different types of antigens are together called as a heterophile antigens. And if two antigens show similar structures, then they are called as alloantigens. Okay, since they are showing similar structures. And the substance that we will add to make incomplete antigen complete is called as adjuvant. Then I discussed about chemical nature. Depending upon chemical nature, the antigens are of four types: proteins, polysaccharide nature, nuclear antigens, and lipoprotein in nature antigens. Then depending upon their origin, antigens are of three types: exogenous antigens, endogenous antigens, and autogenous antigens. Autoantigens, I'm sorry. So depending upon their origin, we have exogenous, endogenous, and autoantigens. Then depending upon their immune response, antigens are of two types: complete antigens and incomplete antigens. Incomplete antigens are also called as haptens, and their molecular size will be lesser than 10,000 kilodaltons. So far everything clear for everyone, right? Shall I move forward?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Someone saying no.
Sir.
I
Sir, can you
think
hear me?
next topic will be factors influencing antigenicity. Now you will tell these students. So you just think yourself and let me know. Wait. Arey yaar. Okay, I got it. Now my next topic is factors influencing antigenicity. My next topic is factors influencing antigenicity. Factors FACTORS. Factors influencing antigenicity. Okay, influencing antigenicity. So for example, I will tell some factors, then you just try yourself. Foreignness. First factor will be foreignness. Will you agree or not? Foreignness. What do you mean by foreignness? That means
The origin, foreign origin.
the more the outside antigen, the better it will show antigenicity on our body. That means auto antigens will show less reaction compared to exoantigens. Auto antigens will show less reaction compared to exoantigens. Exoantigens will show nice reaction. A very strong reaction can be elicited by exoantigens. So exoantigens will show more virulent, more antigenicity. So foreignness is one factor. Then second one will be size. Molecular size is one factor. Will you agree or not? Molecular size is one important factor. Can anyone guess What should be the average size to get a reaction? What should be the average size to get a nice antigenic reaction? Can anyone guess?
More than 10 Daltons.
Very good. More than 10,000 kilodaltons. More than 10,000 kilodaltons should be the size. More than 10,000 kilodaltons KD should be the size to get a nice immunological reaction. Then third one will be chemical nature. Depending upon chemical nature also the antigenicity will depends. For example, chemical nature, depending upon chemical nature. For example, you just tell me, students, which will have more reaction. I have nucleic acid antigen, then I have protein antigen, then I have one more antigen like a lipoprotein, lipid antigen. Which will have more reaction? Tell me. Usually proteins will have more reaction, okay, because proteins are more abundant on the surface of cells. Many cells will have many proteins, so proteins will have more antigen reaction compared to all other types, because nucleic acid is always present inside the nucleus. Lipoproteins will present inside the cell membrane, but proteins will present on the surface of cells. So proteins will show more more antigenic reaction. Okay, so chemical nature is one factor. Then physical form. Physical form means either it is in solid form or liquid form. So usually solid form will show more reaction. So obviously that is true. So physical form means either it is solid or liquid state. So the fourth one is physical state. So physical state of the antigen. So in the physical state of antigen, solid antigens will show more reaction compared to liquid antigens. Will you agree or not?
Sir,
Solid
why, sir?
antigens will show more reactions compared to liquid antigens or semi-liquid antigens. Will you agree or not? Students, are you following? Are you understanding
Yes,
these
sir.
factors?
Yes, sir.
Then why silence? So factors influencing antigenicity means it is the capability of the antigen to produce antibodies by the body. So one will be foreignness. The greater the foreignness, the better the reaction. Then molecular size. A good antigen should have greater than 10 kilodalton in size. Then chemical nature, proteins will show more antigenic nature. Then physical, solid antigens will have more reaction compared to liquid antigens. Then we have a few more factors. So a few more factors I will discuss and we can wind up. Don't worry, I will finish within 5 minutes. Okay, I will try my level best. So a few more factors. Listen. So a few more factors include fifth one. So fifth one will be like antigen specificity. So for example, I have two types of antigens. Just tell me, students. I have heteroantigen. I have heteroantigen. Then I have alloantigen. I have alloantigen, which will show more reaction. Allo means very similar looking antigen. Alloantigen, which will show more reaction. Hetero or allo? Hetero, very good, perfect. So hetero antigen will show more reaction compared to allo antigen, because allo means similar antigen. So it will trigger less immunogenic reaction compared to hetero antigens. So hetero antigens will trigger more reaction. So this is called as a antigen specificity. So the more the specific the antigen, the greater the antigenic reaction that is elicited by the corresponding antigen. So heterogenic antigens will show more reaction. Then sixth one is species specific antigens. This is very true. Species specific. SPECIES. For example, species antigen means now I take an antigen from another human and also I'm taking antigen from a monkey. Which antigen will have more reaction? Monkey antigen or human antigen?
Monkey.
Monkey.
Monkey antigen will have more reaction, right? So that is why I will take always other animal antigens we will take actually. During immunological studies, we will take guinea pig antibodies or horse antibodies. So we will take from another animal so that we will get a nice reaction in our body. So species is one factor. Then other factors also, organ specific antigens. Organ specific also. For example, organ specific antigens. So why I'm discussing organ specific means here, for example, I want to activate my thyroid gland. Maybe my thyroid, I have auto thyroid problem. Then I want to take some antigens to my thyroid gland. At this time, what type of antigen I need to take? Shall I take pancreatic antigen? No, it won't work. Shall I take liver antigen? No, it won't work out. So if I want to target my thyroid hormone, thyroid gland, then I should take thyroglobulins, organ specific antigens, so that I will have a specific reaction. So organ specific antigens, then other factors also include genetics. So person to person, the way he is responding will be different. So genetics is one factor for antigenic reactions. Genetic will be one factor. Then age will be one factor. Age will be one factor. Usually young teenagers will have nice immune system compared to just born babies or older people. So teenagers will have a nice healthy immune system or immune reactions. So age is one factor. And last and final is we have two more I will discuss, and we have one more is this one, dose of antigen. Dose of antigen. Antigen dose. If I'm taking too much less antigen, it won't trigger immunological reaction. If I take too much excessive antigen, it will also won't trigger immunological reaction. So I need to take a optimum dose of antigen so that I will get a proper immune reaction. So dose of the antigen also is one important factor. And last and final will be route of administration. Route of administration of the antigen. Route of administration of antigen. Route of administration of antigen. So for this, I will give you one example. Listen. Now, I'm gonna give a malaria antigen. Okay. Malaria vaccine to a person. Okay. The target for malaria will be white blood cells. So the target of malaria will be white blood cells. Now, I have two methods of giving this vaccine to my person. So this is my person. So I have two types. One is giving to his blood vessels. I will directly inject into his blood, or I will inject through mouth. He will digest the vaccine. Which will be the best thing? Shall I give vaccine orally or through blood for malaria?
Through blood, sir.
Through blood, very good. Because through blood only white blood cells can be easily reached. So antigen can reach white blood cells easily through blood compared to mouth. If I'm giving through mouth, it will be destroyed in the stomach. So it will be useless. So route of administration of antigen is also very important to activate the immune reaction by the body. So route of administration of antigen is also equally important, and it is one important factor. Okay. So this is all about factors influencing antigenicity, students. A quick revision. So some of the factors that will influence antigenicity include foreignness, molecular size, chemical nature, physical state of the antigen, and specificity of the antigen, species, organ specificity, genetics of the person, age of the person, dose of the antigen that we have given, and the route of the antigen that is administered into the body. So these are the certain factors that we need to consider when we are administering the antigens into the body. Other than this, there is a small topic called super antigens. So super antigens means they are very good at activating immune system. So good that immune system will be hyperactivated and we will get allergic reactions. So such type of antigens are called as super antigens. They will vigorously activate the immune system, and there will be an excessive amount of immunological reactions happens in our body, and that will cause anaphylactic shock or simply a hyperactive immune system. So such kind of antigens are called as super antigens. So super antigens are an antigens that will cause an an hyperactive immune reaction will be will be initiated by superantigens. So such antigens are called as superantigens. Okay. So that's it, students. By this, our antigen topic finished. So this is all about antigens. A quick revision of today's lecture. So in today's lecture, first we discussed about basic structure of antigen. I said the part of antigen that will bind with the antibody are called as epitopes. Then I discussed incomplete antigen. Incomplete antigen is also called as hapten, and hapten need to be completed by adding adjuvants. Then depending upon their chemical nature, I discussed proteins, polysaccharides, nuclear antigens, and lipoprotein antigens or lipid antigens. Then depending upon their origin, antigens are of three types: exogenous antigens, endogenous antigens, and autoantigens. Then depending upon their immunological response, antigens are of two types: complete antigens and incomplete antigens. Incomplete antigens size will be lesser than 10,000 kilodaltons, and they are also called as partial antigens or haptens. Then depending upon, then I discussed about the factors influencing antigenicity. So some of the factors that influence antigenicity include foreignness, molecular size, chemical nature, physical state of the antigen, specificity of the antigen, species, organ specificity, genetics of the person, age of the person, dose of the antigen administered, and the route of the antigen that is administered. So depending upon this, the antigens will be elicit the immune reaction. And last and finally, super antigens. So super antigens are the antigens that will cause an excessive immune reaction in our body. So such kind of antigens are called as super antigens. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask me. If you have any doubts.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Mr. Deepak.
Sir, adduct is when hapten meets carrier protein, then the whole complex is called adduct, na? When carrier protein actually meets with the hapten, forming a complex body, that's called adduct.
Adapt or adjuvant, you are right.
Adduct, yes, ADDUCT.
That's it. Correct. If you go depth, there will be different terms for the same things. Yeah.
Yes,
And I will tell one important thing. Side notes of this. Do you have any class notes, students, by the way?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, now you
Yes,
have
sir.
another class at 4 o'clock. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Then I will continue later. I thought of discussing about COVID-19 complications. Actually, COVID-19 complications or respiratory complications are because of immunological reaction. It is not because of virus. Virus not doing anything to our body, but our body is hyper reacting to the virus, and our body releasing something called cytokines, and the cytokines causing cytokine storm in the lungs. Due to the cytokine storm, more amount of fluids are accumulating in the lungs, and that is causing problem. Actually, it is due to hyperactive immune system only we are getting COVID complications. Actually, the virus is very innocent. Virus is not so virulent, but the problem is with our immune system only. So even COVID-19 complications are due to immunological based, immune system based complications in COVID-19. So that is due to something called cytokine storm that I will discuss in the next lecture. So thank you very much for your patience, students.
Okay,
and
sir.
I'm very happy about your activeness in the classroom. So thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. See you.